Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have swatches for you from the brand Starrily. So I do have their new releases as far as their set of creams goes. I have a couple toppers, I think 3 toppers to share with you. I have a couple polishes that are in collaboration with Kelly Marissa, and then I also have their Planets collection, which is 8 magnetic polishes. All of these are available right now, so in the description box below I will link the Starrily site, I will link their Instagram page, and then I'll link my Instagram page where you can see more swatches of everything from today's video. So we do have a total of 22 polishes to look at today, and let's go ahead and get started. So for starters, all of today's swatches will be topped with their ultra glossy top coat, the anti-matter top coat. And then they also sent their matte top coat, so I will be showing all of these swatched with their matte top coat on my Instagram. So starting off with the creams, here we have Terracotta, and as you might have guessed, this is a terracotta leaning kind of fall-esque orange cream. Alright, starting off with this beautiful cream shade. Here is Terracotta, super opaque here on this first coat. I did do 2 coats for all the creams, for most of the creams. There's one that I was like, there's a 0% chance this is going to make any kind of difference between 1 and 2 coats, but most of them I did do 2 coats for, just for consistency's sake. These are going to dry it nice and glossy all on their own. A top coat will help your manicure last though. So there are 2 coats of Terracotta. Next up we have Queen Bee, and this one is kind of a spicy mustard yellow cream. Here's our first coat of Queen Bee, and if this isn't everything that you want in a fall polish, I don't know what is. Formula is smooth, very easy to work with, very opaque here on this first coat. I did need 2 for full coverage. Again, this is going to dry down nice and glossy all on its own. I do recommend using a top coat on all your manicures though. It does help protect your manicure and make it dry a little bit quicker so you're less dentable. There are 2 coats of Queen Bee. Up next we have Gaia, and this one is an army leaning green cream. It is showing up more like Kelly green on camera than it is in person. Here is our first coat of Gaia, and this is just the fall collection for me. I love that they did these fall colors in the summer though. It's definitely a nice change of pace, a nice standout collection. Super opaque here on this first coat for Gaia. I did do 2 coats again, a nice glossy finish on this one. I also didn't have any kind of staining with any of the creams or any of the polishes in this video. So there are 2 coats of Gaia. Up next we have Forest of the Night, and this is a forest green cream. Here's our first coat of Forest of the Night. This one is opaque on this first coat, but it's not totally even and it's not as dark as it could be, so this is definitely one that does need the full 2 coats for coverage. I do feel like all of these creams would be beautiful for stamping. They weren't advertised as such, so I didn't do it, but I have high expectations that they will. 2 coats does give me that full coverage I was looking for. This one is also going to dry it nice and glossy. So there's 2 coats of Forest of the Night. Next up we have Private Island, and this is a Robin's Egg Blue Cream. Here's our first coat of Private Island. I'm blown away by the coverage on this one. This isn't an easy color to get super opaque, and they got it to almost a 1 coater. If it wasn't for the ridges in my nails, I could probably get away with this in 1, but I am showing you 2 today just for full coverage and to cover all of my bases. Just like everything else, this will dry nice and glossy, so there's 2 coats of Private Island. Next up we have Cloudscape, and this is what I would describe as a blue leaning periwinkle cream. Here is our first coat of Cloudscape. This is such a stunning color on me. I was blown away by this one. This is not something that I typically lean towards, but I really didn't want to take this one off. Formula was again wonderful to work with, 2 coats for full coverage, but look at the color of this one. I'm in love. There are 2 coats of Cloudscape. So next up we have Serenity, and this is what I would describe as a purple leaning periwinkle cream. So here it is next to Cloudscape, so you can see what I'm talking about. They both lean in the direction of periwinkle, but one leans more blue and then the other leans more purple. And Serenity here also does have a dusty-esque quality to it. Here's our first coat of Serenity. This one is also super opaque here on this first coat. I did do, once again, 2 coats for full coverage here. Buttery smooth application, nice formulas across the board. Just like the rest of the creams, this is going to dry nice and glossy all on its own. I kind of felt wasteful using top coat on my swatches because these were super glossy all on their own. There's 2 coats of Serenity. Up next we have Empress, and this is a deeper kind of teal blue cream. Okay, but here's one coat of Empress. Like, I couldn't even justify adding a second coat to this. This is full coverage, no visible nail line, no ridges in my nail, no issues whatsoever. I didn't have any staining with this one personally, though I do recommend wearing a base coat just to be on the safe side. Moving on to the toppers, here we have Zephirine, which I'm not sure I'm saying right, and this is a clear base with a shifty shimmer in it. It does go from this like pink to gold, kind of to green, and then it's got this little iridescent bit to it as well. So starting with some of these toppers, here is Zephirine over Terracotta. Beautiful, beautiful polish, nice and shifty, though I will say I wasn't able to capture any of the shiftiness in photos. It is there in person. Up next we have Sparkler, and this is another clear base topper, and the shifty shimmer in this one does go from a red to a green. Here's Sparkler, and this is probably my favorite topper of the 3. It does kind of give me one of those unicorn pea pigment feels to it, but it's a beautiful, beautiful topper, especially over this green. Up next we have Stars, and this is a clear base topper with these holographic micro glitter. Here is Stars, and I know in my bottle shot I said this was a holographic glitter. It's definitely a holographic flake of some sort. Very smooth formula. This one isn't super densely packed, which I really appreciate. Moving on to the random few that I have. Here we have Aphrodite, and this is a softer kind of light purple with a red to green to blue shifty shimmer. Here's our first coat of Aphrodite. This one is a stunning shift in person. I wasn't able to capture the shifts as well as I wanted to on camera. For some reason, they just weren't picking up. They were picking up in person, so bear that in mind. That does go for the toppers that we just looked at, as well as the magnetics that we're about to look at. They all have shifty elements to them that I just wasn't able to capture in photos. 2 coats does it for this one for me, and it is going to dry decently glossy. Up next we have Alternate Universe, and this is in collaboration with Kelly Marissa. This is a deeper, almost outer space blue with these holographic flakes. Here's our first coat of Alternate Universe. This is very opaque here on this first coat. Not totally there as far as opacity goes, so I am going to go for 2, but nicely opaque. This and the next polish that we're going to look at are the only 2 in this video that I had to do a little bit of scrubbing to remove. This one's going to dry on the dull side, so I do recommend top coat, and removal is on the difficult side. So there are 2 coats of Alternate Universe. The other Kelly Marissa shade we have is Stargazer, and this one is a deeper, almost eggplant purple with these holographic micro glitter. Here is Stargazer. So we just looked at one that was on the difficult side to remove. This one is gonna take some serious elbow grease. Everything that's in here is these holographic glitters, so it is gonna dry with some intense texture, and it is gonna be more hard to remove. This I did get still full coverage in 2 coats. I do recommend going in for a thicker glitter eating glossy top coat to smooth this out. The Starrily one did wonders in just 1 coat for me. These glitters also come out easily and they spread out evenly, so there are 2 coats. And then moving on to the Galaxy collection. Up first we have Mercury, and this one's a deeper kind of gunmetal gray black base with these holographic micro glitters, and all of these are also magnetic, so I'm not sure what you'll be able to see in the bottle, but I will magnetize all of my swatches and show them that way as well. So here's our first coat of Mercury, and I will say for all of these magnetic polishes, at the end of the video I'm going to magnetize them using the magnet that Starrily sent along with this collection. Though in my swatch photos I am going to magnetize with some that I bought off of Amazon just for different designs. I will link those in the description. I got full coverage here in 2 coats. When you hit it with the magnet for all of these, I'm going to do 2 coats. It does pull pigment from other places on the nail, so bear that in mind. If it's not totally opaque, it will leave bald spots. Up next we have Venus, and this is a kind of hot red to orange. It's almost a multi-chrome, and it does have this beautiful scattering of hollow throughout. Here is our first coat of Venus. This is super opaque here on this first coat. I'm going to do 2 just so when I hit it with the magnet I don't have any bald spots across the nail, but this one, if you're going to wear it on its own, could easily be a 1-coater. All of these magnetic polishes do dry decently glossy, but they're not super plump, so I do recommend using a top coat to finish all of these off anyway. Nothing in any of these magnetic polishes will dry textured or be difficult to remove, so there's 2 coats of Venus. Up next we have Earth, and this is a really interesting base color. It's this deep yet bright blue, and then it's got this bright blue pull to it, and it does have the same hollow elements. Here's our first coat of Earth. Again, this is so opaque here on this first coat. I'm going to do 2 once again just so when I magnetize everything it's not pulling too much from the opacity in other locations on the nail. But if you're going to wear this one without the magnet, 1 coat is perfect. 2 coats for full opacity, like I said. This will dry on the glossy-ish side, though top coat will help keep your manicure lasting. There's 2 coats of Earth. Up next we have Mars, and this one is a almost burgundy leaning red with the same hollow elements, and then when it's magnetized you'll see the darker red particles around as well. They almost lean in the purple winey direction. Here is our first coat of Mars, and this was a standout for me. When it's not magnetized, it's a beautiful red, but it's magnetized, just gorgeous. It leaves this like deeper kind of wine red on the outskirts, but then this super bright, bold line or pattern of red is just stunning. The red on red is beautiful here. There are 2 coats of Mars. Up next we have Jupiter, and this one is a bronze version of everything we've looked at today. Once you magnetize it, you will get some of these pink and orange elements, and then it also has the scattered hollow, but I feel like the scattered hollow in this one is a little bit more fine than what we've looked at so far. Here's our first coat of Jupiter. Wait until you see my swatch photos of this. I specifically chose certain magnets for certain polishes, and the one that I chose for this one, I chose because it reminded me of a tiger's stripes at the end. Formula on these are all smooth and easy to work with. I know I'm repeating myself. I also know that these are super shimmer heavy, and I didn't have any kind of brush strokes once they were fully dry. Next up we have Saturn, and this one is probably the shiftiest once it's magnetized. In my opinion, it does have the original purple to pink elements to it, and then when you magnetize it, oh, it's not going to show very well on camera, but it does have this like gold and then to a blue element to it, and then again it does have this finer particle hollow to it. Here's our first coat of Saturn. Again, super opaque here on this first coat. Now I chose this magnet because it reminded me of the Cheshire Cat from Alice in Wonderland. Wait till you see that combination. It is stunning, and it made me fall in love with this polish hard. Again, I did do 2 coats just to cover all of my bases for when I magnetized this, but it's not necessary if you're wearing it without the magnet. Again, top coats recommended, removal's easy. Next up we have Uranus, and this is a cerulean blue, and then when it's magnetized it does have this brighter sky blue element to it, and it turns everything around it into this darker, beautiful blue. It also has the finer particled hollow elements to it. This one probably, to me anyway, has the least amount of hollow but the most amount of sparkle. So here is Uranus. This one's a little bit more sheer than what we've looked at so far. I was still able to get full opacity in 2 coats, and I had a hair in there. I do apologize for that. It happens when I use cotton balls. This one is super like flashy and blingy. It's got something that the other ones didn't have, kind of this like metallic feel to it. I'm really loving it. It's almost like reflective. I'm digging the feel to it. I love this magnetized. 2 coats for full coverage, even with the magnet. So there are 2 coats of Uranus. And then I probably saved the best for last, but this is Neptune, and this is a deeper galaxy, dark navy blue, and then when you magnetize it, you get this bright, definitely to me screams galaxy look to it. It turns what's around it into this darker, beautiful, deep blue, and then it does have the larger particle hollow to it. And here's our first coat of Neptune. This was one that I've been eyeballing myself for a long time. I have wanted this polish specifically so I could use the magnet that I do in my swatch photos for this. Again, 2 coats for full opacity, super opaque polish, and the magnetic effect on all of these, they do pull really easily, and I held each magnet over each nail for about 10 seconds, and I didn't have too much pulling afterwards. So there are 2 coats of Neptune. And guys, that is it. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of these polishes. Let me know if you plan on picking any of them up or if you already have, and let me know what your favorite was. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe if you'd like to see more from me, and I will talk to you again next time. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye.